Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning on the 8th day of July, my birthday month. Ooh, and the year of everybody knows by now. Everybody knows by now. The historic year and the 8th day, a new beginning. Well, that's something good. Now, yesterday or last night, I did a message, and part one was not recorded in terms of volume. There was no volume. And I was wondering what's going on. I got part two and part three had volume, but part one didn't have a volume. So I replayed it and then I realized there was no volume. And I'm sitting here, starting my work. And then I heard the Lord said, you have to go back and do part one because that was the most important part. And the enemy didn't want that to be done. So too bad for the enemy this morning. The topic is wrong advisors, wrong decree, wrong identity. Wrong advisors, wrong decree, wrong identity. Hear this, because this is an inspirational word. If you are an advisor and you do not know how to advise, you may as well keep quiet. Sounds firm? Maybe not so firm, but it's true. If you are an advisor and you do not know how to advise, keep quiet. You may as well keep quiet. Because what advice are you going to give if you don't know how to advise? If God is not speaking to you, keep your ears shut and keep your mouth shut. Let Him open them when He's ready to speak. Because the more you keep it open and give the devil that place to come in, he's roaming around. He always wants to get in. I'm not asking, I'm telling you because I experienced it too. But just that I know how to shut them out. For me, I feel that itch in my ear when the devil is trying to talk in my ear or somebody's trying to talk in my ear. And so when I feel that itch, I will say, speak, Lord, your servant heareth. If it's not you, God, I shut them out. And I just stick my finger in my ears and say, shut up, devil. You know why? Because that's not how the Lord speaks to me in these days. That's how we did once upon a time. The devil figured that out because I opened my mouth and I said it. And so he decided, well, let me make use of the information that I got. But if you are doing motivation, that's what you should do. Don't let people change what you're doing. Just do what you're doing. If you are giving a prophetic word, give the prophetic word, the word that God gives you, not what man gives you. Because I know some people they're just dying to be God. I don't know when they think God is going to quit and tell them it's your turn now to be God. So they keep talking up in people's heads. It's something that bothers God. And you know what? It bothers me because I don't like it. I think people should know their place and let God speak through people and do what He's supposed to do because He alone is God. Did you know that people who tell other people to mind their own business have demons speaking through them? Yes, they do. I do not pay attention to people who tell others to mind their own business, but I tell the devil when I hear the devil speaks because I know it's the devil. Okay? Now, Denning Carter spoke into a bishop's head. His name is Darrell Hines. And that was during a convocation at Perfecting Church. I listened. This was the first part of the message that I delivered yesterday, but it wasn't heard. Right? And I heard it during a convocation. I didn't show up at the convocation because I had already left the church and I stayed home and listened. Right? And he preached the message entitled, Mind Your Own Business. And I heard the Lord said, what a cheap bishop. I'm serious. Cheap. Would I have given a word like that at a convocation for people, for someone to go and preach to my people who came from all over the different countries to tell you to mind your own business? Really? Witches and warlocks refuse to mind their own business. They can't speak directly to intellectual people. Therefore, they speak in people's heads. So check yourself when you tell people to speak what you tell them. Check yourself. So I'm giving this warning to the witches and warlocks who are speaking up in people's heads. Examine yourself. Check yourself. It's not your job to speak in people. Some people are just not aware because they don't have that gift. They might be able to discern, but the gifts of discerning of spirits, that is a gift that many people don't have. So they don't know which spirit is speaking to them or through them. They think it is God. And if the Lord is going to tell me, go back and do it over, there is a reason for it. When people tell you to mind your own business, it is because they're insidious haters, jealous, they're deceivers, betrayers, and they are insecure. They're insecure. These are people who come to they think people come to take their stuff, especially the man or you know, the man that they want or the man that they wanted. Just know that somebody can smell some things. You know what I mean? There is a scent, there is a spiritual scent, there's a fragrance, and there's an odor. The thing that is a stench in God's nostril is an odor. The thing that He releases in you, especially when you come out of prayer, it's called a fragrance. Okay? And some of us can tell when it's an odor, and we can tell when it's a fragrance. We're not walking around smelling people. We're smelling the fragrance and the odor. So we know when you are in the presence of God and He speaks to you, before you deliver a word from God, have a conversation with God. Stay in prayer with Him so the devil has to stay out. Shut him out, lock him out. Tell him to shut up. Don't be afraid to tell him to shut up. Say, God, if this is not you, I command this devil to shut up so I can speak what you say. Because even if you wait to see if it's God, that devil, if he's on your back, he's really on your back. And I know he's on some people's back. I just come to help you this morning because there are some people who are on our backs and they just want to speak through us. They just want to speak, and it's not their duty. So they're outside of jurisdiction. This is this is God's territory. It's His jurisdiction to speak within us and speak through us. This is not the devil's territory. So there is a demarcation line that's placed, and he's trying to cross it. Don't let him cross it. I was in a new members class at the same church that I referred to, Perfecting Church, and the woman who's now the pastor's wife, I had a dream the Sunday morning. We drove from Canada, from Ontario, right? And we stayed in Michigan, in Detroit, at a hotel the Saturday so we can go to church the Sunday, right? To go to the class. The Sunday morning, I had a dream, and this woman I saw her in the clothes she was wearing and everything. And then she said, mind your own business. I said, but this fool didn't teach me anything. So she's telling me to mind my own business. I said, you know what, Lord, I'm not showing up. I'll stay at the hotel. Let the two go if they want to go. And then the Lord said, no, but if you don't show up, you won't know. You won't get the evidence. So then Isaiah 43 verse 10 will not be manifested in this case. So I said, okay, you know what? I'll show up. When I showed up, it was Deneen Carter. First time I met her. And I had asked the Lord, if this is what she's coming to say, don't let anybody else show up at the class except three of us. That was myself, my son, and Vernon. Three of us were living in the house. And so the three of us traveled. This is after they break up the marriage and everything. So the three of us were living in the same house. Now, she opened her mouth. Three of us in the class. Nobody else showed up but the three of us. Stay in your lane. I said, who Jesus? What's this? But I had written on a piece of paper and I gave it to Vernon. I said, I heard when the Lord said, that's her. I said, that's her. Who is she? That's her. Who? That's her. So I didn't know what that meant. And then I heard her, she's stay in your lane. So when I heard the stay in your lane, I said, okay, that was the dream. So I did get that dream. So I said, okay. I didn't respond to that, but I said, so we're supposed to be doing the gifts of the spirit now. She said, you have to go home and read that. I was about to say, you don't have the gifts of the spirit, so you can't teach it. And the Lord said to me, she doesn't have the gifts of the spirit, so she can't teach it. I said, well, but she can teach me to stay in my lane, but she can't teach me about the gifts of the spirit. Then what kind of teacher are you? Plus, you have a PhD. You can't be so dumb when you have a PhD. I'm mentoring PhDs. They're not dumb. There are lots of things that they didn't understand, and I gave them clarity. But they weren't dumb. They're educated. And for the ones who came in as educated fools, I switch it around. There's transformation. Transformation took place. So they're not educated fools at this point. But it's amazing that someone with a doctoral degree is going to look at you and tell you, stay in your lane. When I showed up at that church, I showed up with a wedding band on my finger. I did. The other person just decided he wasn't going to go to the class because they gave him poison to drink. When we went to Red Lobster, they gave him poison to drink, so they were trying to kill him. So he didn't show up. But I'm just saying, you're not the pastor's wife, and you could not even teach a new members class. This is the same woman who slept with the husband that I was married to and wasn't divorced. She's the same person who was writing emails and sending the emails. So when I thought it was the person returning emails to me, it was she was the one who was doing it. And the Lord said to me, I'm releasing some information to you, but hold on to it until the right time. Okay? And what he said to me was, she was up in his computer. She had him locked in somewhere. So anytime he would want to get out, she would go back and get him back into the position of captivity. So every time he would try to get out of it, she would try to put him back into the captivity. And I said to myself, this is crazy, which means she has access to him. The Lord said, yes, yes, because she's sleeping with him. So I showed up at the church one Sunday and I saw her with a ring on her finger. And internally I said, oh, so she got married to Mike. That's what I said. So she knows she's engaged to Mike. And Marvin Winans look at me. So he got my internal voice. And so he looked up at me. I said, oh, so he got it. He got my voice. And he said something to her, but he didn't speak. So he talked in her head. And she took off the ring right in the front seat in the church. They don't know, people know exactly what was going on. So my thing is, did you stay in your lane? This is my question for Denning Carter, but I'm throwing it out to everybody who would listen. Did you stay in your lane when you were sleeping with the man that I was married to? Was that your lane? Or you just didn't know what a lane looked like? Were you minding your own business when you were injecting him with cow's blood? Or you just didn't understand what it meant to mind your own business because that was your business? So the Lord said, you are a public lunatic and you need healing, but he refuses to heal you. Why? Because you defiled his temple and you defied him. Good. So you defiled this temple and you defied him. He said, when you think of Jennifer King putting her mouth at Donnie McClurkin's bum, and people were watching it on video, you didn't think people would be doing that. I didn't think people would put their mouth there. I didn't think so. I think that was for the toilet. I really did think so. Think that was for the throne. But you see, God can let things happen just to disgrace the enemies because they put device in the house watching me from one house to the next and decide that they would not give up. Since you decide you wouldn't give up, God just gave you something worse than what you gave. So her mouth was at Donnie McClurkin's bum, sucking stuff out, and her hand was in his pocket, robbing him. This is the same woman who told Terry, the real estate agent, that she was coming to buy a house for me and for my son. How smart. Didn't have a dime or a dollar, but she's going to buy a house. Well, then maybe she claimed that she was robbing Danny McClurkin to buy the house, but I don't believe that's what she was doing, right? And then he said, "It's even worse. What you did, it's even worse. It's worse than your whoredom that you're doing, but you talk in people's heads." So he said, "You're public lunatics trying to give people the impression that you're in your right mind. You are not in your right mind. It's good that you spoke in the middle." She claimed that she wanted me to be homeless. And she spoke in people's heads. 5 minutes after I spoke to the people, and they don't even remember the conversation. This is what has been happening. It's the same thing how she would talk in Vernon's head. 5 minutes after I asked, "So did you know about this and that?" No. It's the strangest conversation ever. Never heard it. This is what they've been doing. And the Lord said, "Warn them." I said, "Stop it. Every one of them. All of these fools. Stop it." He said, "Otherwise, what I'm going to do is take the breath out of you." The breath. So when I take the breath out of you, it means you're dead. That's what he's saying. We get the opportunity to observe how crazy these people are. Like they're crazy lunatics. And they're trying to tell people that, how can you tell somebody I'm crazy? I'm in my right mind, using my creative brain, my creativity. And you're telling people that I'm out of my mind. Almighty God would have healed you. But he said, "I would have healed Babylon, but I will not heal them." The two prostitute sisters, the two Babylonian sisters who like men in uniforms. I asked the Lord, I said, "What are their uniforms?" Because I thought it was police officers that he was talking about. He said, "No, they have a suit that they wear." I've seen Marvin Winans in it. I've seen Donnie McClurkin. I've seen other pastors in it. It's just a long jacket and a pants. So they're not wearing a jacket over that, and they're not wearing a shirt that you can say it's a three-piece or a two-piece suit. It's just the jacket that they have that is buttoned down and the pants. And that's what he calls a uniform because a lot of pastors wear that, right? And then he said, the two Babylonian sisters, the two Babylonian prostitutes, wherein one is worse than the other. And he said, "I'm telling you, I'm talking about Deneen Carter and Jennifer King, but Jennifer King is worse." He said, "Your many sorceries get you into trouble, and it's giving you public disgrace." And he said, "I'm still not done with you because you refuse to listen and adhere to what I said." Anyone who feels as if you can frame me, okay? So this is what the Lord said. He said, people are trying to frame me because Jennifer King is so mad because I guess maybe because I said she's been married 3 times. But you've been married 3 times. How many times do you want to get married? You're a woman. And you think you have to drive a man mad in order to get him. That's not what women do. And all these women who are running around chasing men all over the place, and you know, it's not your job to invite a man out. It's not your job to tell a man what you need to tell him. It's your job to listen to what he has to say and then make sure you don't sleep with him until he puts a ring on your finger, the wedding band. It's not your job to tell him, I'm here waiting for you and all that. He said it's not your job because God will send him when you are ready. Some people are not even ready because other men have spoken in their heads and messed them up. And he said, when I could have sent you a husband, there were other men who were trying to hold two women at the same time. And when they're holding two women at the same time, they're holding back one. And then the other one just decide to run away. But the men are sitting down there holding the woman. They have to have a proxy vote. But listen, they're not even qualified to be husbands because they're so messed up. What some of them have inside of them, ladies, you don't want it. You don't want it. Trust me, you don't. So somebody is trying to see if they can frame me to tell lies on me, create financial misconduct, mess with my name, or use my signature, or mess with my reputation, right? They're trying to create accusation to make sure that I get in trouble. Well, what kind of trouble are you going to get me in when I don't have any financial misconduct? I don't have any business misconduct. I don't. I don't. I conduct my business in the right way. It's the people who are these fools who are messing it up, right? Thinking that they can prevent me from making money. But if I don't make money, remember, you're going to lose. That's guaranteed. So he said, you don't look like you have any fear of me, God. That's what he said. You don't look like you have any fear of me. And if I'm the highest authority and you don't have any fear of me, I'm going to make the fear of Israel come upon you. That means I'm going to set your enemies on you. Then you will fear me as God because I'm the one who sends the enemies. I want to say this. According to Isaiah 61, verse 7, he said, instead of my shame, because somebody is trying to work something out to see if they can bring me shame, but the Lord said, that's not possible. It is not possible. So instead of my shame, I will receive a double portion. And instead of disgrace, I will receive a double portion. Okay. I will rejoice in my inheritance. And so I will inherit a double portion in my land. And everlasting joy will be mine. Why? Because he said, according to Isaiah 61, verse 8, for I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and wrongdoing. In my faithfulness, I will reward my people and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. Let me just give a little note. For all the people who came that they were coming to bless and they weren't blessing, what they came to do was to take. I heard the Lord said, if I send someone to bless my people and you interfere with it, I'm going to strip you, as in Ezekiel 32. I'm going to strip you like Egypt. I'm going to make sure I strip you until nothing is left. You wouldn't bless my people. You only came to take and to block up stuff. And some of you, because you have your money, you're acting as if you want to tell people what to do and how to run their lives. I'm independent. Let me say it like that. That means men don't get to run my life. Even with a husband in my life, he didn't get to run my life because he didn't own me. God did. God used him as a protector. And that's the most important responsibility of a husband. You protect your wife and you take care of her. But you don't get to dictate. You don't get to run her life and tell her what she can do and what she can't do. So some of you, you thought you were going to make me lose my identity, but you have already lost your identity. You made your wrong decree because you didn't know me and you judged me before you got to know me. You should have tried to know me before you tried to judge me. Psalms 102 verse 13, he said, it says, you will arise and have compassion on Zion for the time to favor her. He said, I'm talking to you. That's me. So I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what people are trying to do with me. The time to favor me has come. The set time, the appointed time. Why? I have to write it so that the children yet to come will have a precedent. Just like how I can say, I remember when my mother was praying and she said, build a bulwark around my children. I declare a bulwark, build a fence around them, God. So I have the precedent to go by to know that that's how she used to pray. And I prayed just like her until God gave me my own words, right? So this is the encouragement he gave me. For whatever the enemy is planning to do, you might as well just shut it down. Stop telling lies on me. They're going to backfire. The more you tell lies on me, the more books you give me to write. The more you tell lies on me, the more people get saved because you don't know. You push me so much that God gives me another word and it delivers the people and people get saved and the men are dropping, they're bringing their load. That's their marijuana, their drugs, their gun, whatever it is, laying it on the altars. And all I do is I just tell them, I said, we'll cover it up for you. And you surrender your life to the Lord. So I just want to say to someone, all the drugs that you've been taking, Donnie McClurkin was sniffing powder. Marvin Sapp showed up in the church. He looked like he was drunk, like he was high on something. Marvin Winans, he's high on, like, the only thing I can say is the potency of the witchcraft. It was just something that he couldn't even handle. Because Irene Norde spoke in his head and told him, tell them to bring $100. And he stood there and said, the Lord said everybody should bring $100. I said, the Lord said. And she turned around and she looked at me and smiled. That means I caught him. See, I got control over him. When so many people, women control one man's head, you don't want that man because he's going to be no good to you. Ladies, he will be no good to you. If so many women control one man's head, he's no good to you. And these men look like they want to control women's heads. Release the woman. I'm commanding the release right now. Release the woman. All you men who are holding up women's heads. When God has prophets that he needs to speak through, and you're taking them as your own prophets and speaking through their heads, I declare the release. And if you don't want to let them go, I declare madness upon you. Too many false prophets. Too many people are speaking what God didn't say. And it's garbage. And it sounds foolish. And it makes the others of us look like we have no sense. Everybody is not speaking what God says. So you men who are trying to absorb women's minds and trying to dictate and tell them what to say, shut up. God ain't speaking to you. He cut off some of you. He's not even talking to you. Because you fake a relationship with him for so long. And he's tired of it. And now he's saying, shut up. Shut up. Neatly and nicely. Just shut it up. Let the woman be. Why would you want a woman who you mess up her head? And she's going to turn around and poison you, fool. She's going to turn around and mess you up. So you're going to be sleeping with your enemy in bed. Stop messing up the women's heads. Stop messing up the women's heads. Some of them were okay without you. Some of them were fools. We understand that. And some of them are still too foolish because they just do anything a man wants. Women, when you stand up on your feet, And tell a man, listen, it's either God's way or the highway. And you don't look like you're going to want to go God's way. So take the highway and go fast, quick and in a hurry before before some of your enemies start chasing you down. Because God will send chariots of fire to chase you. Stop selling yourself so cheap to these men. I don't care if they have a million, billion, trillion dollars. The money can't finish. I'm telling you. Because they can go mess with a man and the man just suck it out. Some of them, they just so lie. They lie. They're pathological liars. They've been lying for so long. They don't know I've been watching. They don't know that I know. Some of the things they've been doing, I know. And who give you permission, men? You're going with other men, but you want to stand up on platform and talk to people and tell them what God says. And you pastors who are putting people on platforms and they can only inspire people on a Sunday morning, but they can't call an altar call. If they can't do an altar call, you have no right to call them up to go speak on a Sunday morning. If you want inspiration, you let inspiration be done during the week, but not on a Sunday. Sunday is the day when everybody's looking to be saved. When they see people don't get saved, they don't want to come back. So they know it's just a gathering room. Why not make the change now? This is the historic year. So I challenge you, pastors, this is the historic year. Make a change. Make the difference. If your wives are not the wives that God wants them to be, go down on your face before God and start crying out because you made a choice. God didn't. You chose. Women, if your husbands are the pastors, your life doesn't line up, his life doesn't line up, go lie down on your face before God. This is the historic year. You don't know what he's going to do. We're just at the middle of it. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's going to shake. Because if he's shaking, he's coming for you first. Because you're the leaders of the church. So he's coming for you first. So if you don't get it right, you can't give it right to the people. And if you don't give it right to the people, they get it wrong, which means you're leading them down the garden path of destruction. And when your altars are supposed to be full, they're not. Because some of you are still singing the songs of the unsaved. Prophets are not even supposed to be engaging with unsaved songs. The songs of the unsaved. Prophets are not even supposed to be doing that. Because God will never speak to you through an unsaved song if you have a prophetic anointing. He's speaking to you from the word. Whatever he gives you lines up with the word. It cannot line up with, I don't even know. Let me say Joe Brown, because I don't even know these people. But they can't line up with those songs. They can't. And I'm giving this warning to the pastors. Is what the Lord said. This is a historic year. All around the world, not just in Canada, not just in one country, it's all around the world. If you're a pastor, be a clean pastor. You cannot be a pastor who's watching men naked, watching women naked, watching people naked. If you can watch man and woman and kids, guess what? If they put a dog in front of you, you won't miss it. So smarten up because the devil is on the loose and he doesn't even know who he is because he doesn't know his identity. So the devil doesn't know who he is. Do you think the devil knows he's the devil? Do you think Judas knew he was Judas who was going to betray Jesus? No. But Jesus knew. He knew. But if you don't listen to what he has to say and follow the instructions so you can get it right and make a U-turn and get back on track, because a lot of people are not on track. And so you're messing up with the people. And God is not pleased when you're messing with his people. He's not pleased when you're telling his people to shut up and you don't know what the message would have been. It could have been a message to deliver you. It could have been a message to say someone is coming with some money to deliver, but you stop the message and the Lord says, I withdrew. That's what he said about somebody. I withdrew the money because somebody shut up somebody. The person didn't know what the message was, but I heard the Lord said, I was sending some money to deliver somebody, but the person told the person to shut up. It's the pastor who told someone to shut up. He said, and I withdrew because guess what? You touched my anointed. You don't know who's anointed by God. So it's better you let the people deliver the message and then let God send somebody to say that wasn't God. So then the person will know next time, don't open your mouth if God didn't say so. But you might tell him to shut up at the wrong time when it was supposed to be a release for you. He said, I don't do anything without first telling a prophet, not the pastor. That's not what he said. He didn't say the pastor, he said the prophet. So if the person would have released a message that would have delivered you or delivered your city, delivered your community, delivered your country, delivered your state, and you block it up, you block up everybody's blessing. So then you're held responsible and don't even know why things might not go the way you expect it to go, but you stopped God from speaking. He doesn't force himself to speak. He doesn't. So when you tell him to shut up, he shuts up. When you tell us to shut up, we shut up because because we're obedient. So we shut up. But you bear the calamity for it. Okay? So that's the word. To the leaders everywhere, the Lord said, if you're a leader, be a leader. Let me be able to trust you as a leader. Yes. Let me be able to trust you as a leader. Because if I can't trust you as a leader, I'm going to use Isaiah 22 on you. That means I'm going to crumple you up like a ball and toss you. And I'm going to take the keys from you and hand it to somebody else. So that somebody else who's able to handle the keys well will do the job. Okay? So that was the word that the Lord gave me to deliver. It didn't come like the piece that I was supposed to have delivered yesterday. Somebody cut off my voice. I don't know why. But the first one it didn't go through. The voice didn't go through. But the next two, the voice went through and I didn't touch the mic. So that's the word that the Lord gave me this morning. Adhere to the word. Follow the instructions and live. Follow the instruction if you really want to live. Danny McClurkin, change your dirty ways. Marvin Sapp, Marvin Winans, Chris O'Cleome. All of you who like to feel up people. As soon as I went in the car yesterday, it's like my husband, like I got home from work and he's ready to touch me up all over. That's what I'm used to with a husband. But there was no husband in the car. But that's what the person was doing. Whoever you are, in your mystical mind, change your ways. Sort yourself out because you're not ready for a wife when you can do something like that. God can't trust you because if you put an engagement ring on a woman's finger, you're going to want to sleep with her. If you're that bad, you're going to want to sleep with her with an engagement ring on her finger. That means you're going to sleep and mess yourself up before you get to the point of marriage. Okay? Adhere to the word and live. All right. So, everybody, be blessed. We're going up. That's what he said. We have to go up and over to the other side. He's not going straight way. Not this time. He's using strategies to get us to where we need to go. Let me tell you, if God sends someone to bless me, don't block up that person's way because desolation is going to be your portion. All right? Be good to yourself. Have a great and wonderful day. And I will see you as we get up and over to the other side. Have a great day. Goodbye.